Yo, what up, motherfuckers? Another more D&D nerd shit coming up on the way. So here's the thing. I fell in love with D&D. It's kind of like a gateway drug, you know? I mean, that's just how the Satanic Panic work. First you do D&D, then you ship drugs, and you have gay sex orgies, and you worship Satan, then you worship Moloch Baal. And yeah, that was the fear of the 80s. But I did fall into kind of a sort of gateway drug from Dragon Age to Elder Scrolls to D&D eventually when I was in my early 20s, and I really fell in love with D&D through Critical Role and Stranger Things. And here's what we're talking about today. Critical Role, it's one of the best, most greatest internet phenomenon that's happened in the last decade or so. It's about a bunch of nerdy voice actors and celebrities that get together, sit down, play D&D games. Matt Mercer, who's a modern-day fucking Tolkien, who I respect the hell out of. This man has created his own fantasy world that he markets as Teldori, which is up there with the worlds of Tamriel or Forgotten Realms, with how detailed and intricate its world building, its history, its species, its politics. It's fucking awesome. It's fucking lit. And they get these degenerate nerds who make a bunch of fucked up sex jokes, and they go on adventures, slaying dragons, slaying demons, you know, hooking up, and, like, you know, going on quests, becoming pirates, fighting evil gods. I love it. And they just make sex jokes while they're doing it in every podcast, and it's fucking awesome. Or they'll make nerdy jokes that really make you realize, man, these people are just as nerdy and debaucherous as I am. But, you know, they're successful. You know, maybe I can be successful by making my own TRPG YouTube channel. Yeah, like that works out for most people. The gateway drug. But no, Critical Role founded their entire industry that is built around getting people play online streams of D&D, Pathfinder, you name it. They've even created their own world, their own brand, their own expanded universe of books and comics, and they're so well known amongst the nerd sphere on YouTube. I have nothing but respect for these motherfuckers. Nothing but respect. The sheer nerdiness, they're so well known, especially Sam. Especially Sam is well known for his nerdiness and his weirdness, and they all are, and they've built such a great industry when it comes in, like, entertainment subculture of D&D nerds online. I have nothing but respect for these guys. I really do. Considering the fact they started off as just a bunch of nerdy celebrities in their own personal D&D game, which Matt created his own world, which rivals Tolkien, was infinitely better than Lord of the Rings. At least there's no talking beavers in this, and there's no talking beavers whatsoever, so fuck yes. Yeah, they made this amazing fantasy world that they all immerse themselves in, and eventually, my other favorite nerd celebrity, Felicia Day, holla, is building her own Geek and Sundry nerdy gamer D&D YouTube channel, and she hires these guys to start doing live streaming their D&D games for them, and a couple years later they become the biggest thing on the internet, and they are the biggest thing on the internet, and they still are one of the biggest things on the internet. Eventually they break away, they start their own media company, they write their own books, sell their own campaign guides, and are now synonymous with D&D. They became the poster children for Wizards of the Coast. Became the evil, tyrannical, soulless abomination they are now. Man, even Moldor would be pale in comparison to the evils that go on at the Wizards of the Coast, HR, and, like, corporate studios. I mean, the evil those people are known for, it's beyond fucking belief. Well, the thing is, these guys have called out Wizards of the Coast. They have built their own gaming system. They do live streams with other nerdy celebrities. They have even done, like, crossovers where Matt or, like, other members of the group will do, like, for upcoming video games, they'll do, like, D&D sessions that take place in Elden Ring, or my personal favorite, Elder Scrolls Online, because I'm a huge ESO nerd, and they made a 3-parter for ESO, or Tears of the Kingdom, and they still make these games great. They can take something like Doom, and turn it into a D&D game where they all play as demons. That's just the sheer amount of creativity and, like, versatility these guys have, and they're making a great industry for themselves. And despite all the drama when it comes to D&D, over the last couple of years. These guys have stood strong. They've changed the internet and the D&D market and like culture forever. And I'm into D&D now because of these guys. And I fucking own these guys a Wookiee life debt. Especially Sam. He's awesome. Matt Mercer is just my god, and he's sexy as fuck, and if he wasn't taken, oh man. And once again, he married his nerdy D&D girlfriend, which I love. Hopefully that can happen to me someday, if the gods are willing. But they probably won't, because I'm destined to live in perpetual aloneness the rest of my life, but whatever. But, yeah, these guys have redefined the industry, and I really respect them and what they've done. And what used to be a bunch of neckbeard... When people thought of D&D, they thought of neckbeards. Disgusting neckbeard creatures that lived in their mother's basement. Or they thought of satanic cultists who sacrificed children and then engaged in massive gay sex at the local satanic temple. Which, probably some truth to that. And now people just assume... D&D nerds are people like Matt Mercer, or they're like the guy from, fuck, what's his name? I'm blanking on it. The guy who used to be. There's so many celebrities in that group that it's hard for me to remember once again autism, but they've done so many good things, and these are just good-looking, attractive voice actors that play D&D and are just as nerdy and kinky and the weird as the rest of us nerds are. And I fucking love it. And it plays into their games. It plays into their media. I fucking love it. And what they've really done recently that I've really enjoyed is they've started... There's even rumors they're sharing their own. There's jokes on the online community. They're sharing their own amusement park, which would be awesome. Tell Dory is such a beautiful world. But... in the midst of doing D&D games on ESO, slaying dragons, slaying demons, slaying orcs, playing pirates, having love triangles, they've made their own anime TV series, which I fucking love. It's so worth it. It's called Vox Machina. It follows the adventures of the original campaign. And it's great. It's so ESO-like. They literally battle dragons, undead, get into bar fights, explore this massive, beautiful fantasy world that's designed and looks like something out of Avatar: The Last Airbender, but it's full of D&D monsters, orcs, demons, dragons, and the characters are so well drawn and so unique. I love Grog. I fucking love Grog. I love the dragon arc. That's my favorite arc of the first season. The freaking coma, the conclave, the dragons that are trying to take over the world with an army. There's even an episode in the first season, that story arc on the tabletop. They literally battle a dragon boss, the main dragon, with its army of like witherns and demons for like 4 hours straight, and they're also like. That was like one of the best boss fights I've ever seen in an online D&D game. Battling that Lord Dragon dude, Thordak, for like 4 hours straight and using all these like ancient relics to battle him with. It's so base. Go watch their streams, especially Vox Machina. Go watch that shit. It's so good. But yeah, these guys are so entrepreneuring. They've also done ESO and Elden Ring, like, live streams. Go watch those as well. They're so good. They literally battle a Daedra undead. They go to the world of Hyrule, and they play as the Hyrulean races from Zelda. It's just, they know the lore. They know the worlds they're playing in. They know how to sell it, and they know how to be a better poster child for the gaming industry than Mountain Dew or Cheetos ever will be. And I fucking love that. Yeah, so once again, Critical Role has really... They've shaken up the D&D industry. They made it popular again, along with Stranger Things. These nerdy celebrities who are huge gamers themselves sit down for sometimes 4 hours at a time. They've been doing this since 2014. And for me, along with shows like Geek and Sundry, all the channel program Geek and Sundry, I spent my 20s in the culture of nerddom, in the culture of D&D, in the culture of games like ESO, Elder Scrolls Online, Star Wars: The Old Republic, Critical Role, like this fantasy world building and fantasy nerd culture. I spent my 20s in that. I wasn't getting laid much, so I spent my 20s in the world of D&D and storytelling and all these worlds that Critical Role has been such a huge part of, and that they have helped nurtured the D&D live stream community and culture they built, that they literally pioneered and everyone has been imitating. I mean, the fact that they do all these video game crossovers like Elder Scrolls, Doom, it speaks so much of how ingrained these guys are in the gamer RPG culture and how much of a difference they've made, and how people will literally sign on and watch them turn Doom into a D&D game and live stream it and see them cosplay doing it. And this is something that Critical Role has pioneered, and how they have brought so much significance and attention to geek and nerd culture. It's really fucking cool. I really enjoy it, you know? And now they're animators. They're literally creating their own D&D fucking live animated adult series. It's so fucking awesome. Vox Machina is kicking the ass out of most of these major Hollywood. Whereas you get shows like Rings of Power, which are just abomination. Well, Rings of Power is okay. I don't hate it. But you see like all these like Hollywood studio level fantasy TV shows that just reek of woke. And you see these nerdy celebrities who, through Patreon, have created their own better fantasy world and TV show and characters than most major studios have. And that stands out to me, okay? That fucking stands out to me. The fact that you have an Avatar: Last Airbender for adults set in the world of D&D with elves, dragons, orcs, gay elves and gay magician dudes fraternizing and making innuendos and slaying dragons and fighting in bar fights in a massive D&D fantasy world that is literally so cutting edge and boundary pushing, and they're kicking all the major studios' asses with the fantasy world and the jokes and the humor and the stories they're telling. It's so fucking awesome, and I wish this shit was around when I was a kid. And these guys are, I would say, Critical Role are better animators and better storytellers than most major studios are right now. And that's what's really standing out about this world and this intellectual, creative movement these guys are working on and making for themselves. I love it so much. It is so good. And it's evident with Matt Mercer and the cast of Critical Role. It's been their sheer creativity and ingenuity that they've built this world, and not just this world, but all the fantasy worlds they create whenever they're playing D&D with guest stars, or that be playing in the world of Tamriel, living in the world of Elden Ring, and the sheer, like, they can turn something like as bland as like Doom and turn it into a great story and a great episodic show you can watch for like an hour, 2 hours, and just be suspenseful. This is how talented they are as storytellers and content creators. And even with the main series itself, they can go from telling a story in like a gothic horror to a medieval high fantasy war between dragons and allied armies. Just the sheer amount of like, even the creativity that the cast has made when it comes to their creating their characters, which is probably the best part about Critical Role, is the characters they roleplay as and how they breathe life into them and how people have fallen in love with this shit. It's so amazing. I love it. And they all have their own story arcs, their own campaigns within themselves, and like their own struggles, their own backstories. These guys are the best D&D players I have ever seen, and they've revolutionized the industry, and they've brought it into Vox Machina. We've seen the animation bring life to the characters and the story arcs we watched on live streams with no visual elements into this fantasy adult version of Avatar or Korra, and it's just so amazing. We get to see Pike and her adventure, her story arc, or what's the name of that the guy with the gun, I forget his name. We see the Vox Machina, seeing their story arcs, or it be Grog or Scamlin or the Elf Twins, and just seeing them grow and seeing these character arcs actually play out in an animated sort of like storytelling element is so fucking rewarding. And it's more rewarding than most quote unquote character development I see in most animated or live action series coming out of Hollywood nowadays. These guys are better content creators than most major studios, and even the animation is so fucking trippy and so fucking good. There's entire boss fights where the Vox Machina are slaying a dragon. There's all the back and forth, and there's like you're taking what you saw years ago in a live stream and turning it into an animated high fantasy, heavy metal as fuck adventure. Seeing the crew take down a dragon and just how brutal it gets. I fucking love it. And this is what stands out about this show. The visual elements bring it so much to life. And it's almost perfect what I imagine it looking like when I was listening to the live streams, like back when I was in my early 20s. And here I am, my last year of my 20s, but still, it's worth it. These guys have brought this world and these characters to life so well, and I am so enthralled by what they have created. And just there's even like the jokes that only D&D nerds will get with like rules lawyers and like little D&D little trippets, like it taking 20 minutes to open a door with a pickpocket. You know, that was just so fucking amazing. I loved it. Would check out Vox Machina, the animated series. It's on Prime. It's probably one of the best shows on Prime right now. And look, we never had a full-blown D&D adult cartoon. The closest thing we got was Adventure Time, and that was pretty close. But look, we now have D&D as a TV show, an animated TV show that actually isn't for kids and for stoners in the 80s. Giggity. It's good. This show is awesome. I highly recommend it. This is what D&D should be. This is what D&D, an animated TV series made by these D&D actors, should look like. It's awesome and brutal as fuck. It gets metal as fuck sometimes. I really enjoy it. It really stands out. Other things I'll say about it is like the story arcs are great, and I would say the original season of Vox Machina, that when it comes to Critical Role, I think Vox Machina is them at their best. Don't get me wrong, Campaign 2 was amazing, but Vox Machina will always have the charm that I will never see. I mean, the best Season 2 has is Jester, and Jester is awesome and adorable. I'm not going to deny that. But, come on, Vox Machina, it was good shit. And Jester is really cool for cosplayers and people who have a certain preference for bedtime activities and the jokes you want in with that. Lollipop. But, look, Vox Machina's Critical Role, it's best. It's when I fell in love with it. Season 2 was great. And I really like what they're doing with this anime series, how they're turning all of Campaign 1 into an anime series. They skipped off on like the first major story arc with a certain Dragonborn we shall not speak of. Giggity. But look, Critical Role keeps boundary pushing with all the media they're working on, all the projects they're working on, all the live streams and different games they're playing. They've outshined their parent company, and that's what I love about Critical Role, is what they're building and what they're defining. They're even making their own RPG system, which should be amazing. I'm really looking forward to it. And just go watch the first 2 seasons of Vox Machina on Amazon Prime. It's great. It's cartoonish, it's campy, it's got the best animation of any series that I've seen, which is the Avatar: Last Airbender animation style. And it's just great. I love it. And it's so nerdy and D&D based. I would highly recommend it. And Season 3 is coming up, and there's going to be a conclusion to the Dragon War that they've been doing since Season 1. But if you really want to watch the whole series without waiting for Season 3 and Season 4, watch their live streams on Critical Role or on YouTube or whatever. And in general, I think Vox Machina is a great show. And look up season 3. The trailer just came out. It looks pretty damn good. In closing, I think D&D TV shows are the way to go. I prefer watching like D&D live streams by like High Rollers or Critical Role more so than I enjoy watching most shows on Netflix or TV nowadays or streaming. Honestly, these guys got good. And Vox Machina is straight up for any nerd who grew up with Avatar: The Last Airbender, turned into an emo weirdo D&D nerd in high school / early college, and then grew up to be a weird, fucked up adult like me. It's really good. Yeah, the season 3 is coming out pretty soon. Just give it a shot. Look the show up. It's really worth the record, both the live stream and the podcast and the TV show. But, yeah, till next time, folks. Stay sane, black banana, roll that D20, and hopefully you don't wind up in the bathhouse more than 3 times. Peace out, folks.